So first off, what is your name?
Sharon R. Miller.
Okay. How are you related to me?
I am your father's mother.
Okay. When were you born?
July 5th,
You don't have to say the year.
1938,
Okay. Where were you born? Which city?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio. Were you raised, near the suburbs, or in
I
the
was
city?
raised on a short street that overlooked the park where the Cleveland Zoo is.
Okay. Okay. How many siblings did you have?
3.
3. And how old were who came first? Who came last?
My sister was born in 1935. I was born in 1938. My brother was born in 1942, and the last sibling, my sister, was born in 1946.
Okay. What school did you go to?
I went to Denison Elementary, Thomas Jefferson Junior High, and Lincoln High School,
Okay.
all in Cleveland.
What kind of grades would you get? Did you do good in school?
Yeah, I was average.
Alright. What would you normally do after school? Activities.
Well, I would, after dinner, I would go out and play. When we were in grade school, we had a lot of street games that we did, like pom-pom, pull away. We lived on a short street, as I said, and so we would play games in the street, kick the can, hide-go-seek,
Let's see.
yes, and different things like that.
Okay. Well, what would you do? What would you do for fun, like teenage years? What would
We
you do?
would walk to the theaters. We had some neighborhood theaters. One was about 15 blocks away. We would walk there to see a movie. They had, on Saturday afternoons, they had a feature called Bank Hour. And you could win prizes. You could win money prizes with your ticket stub number and things like that. Also, we would go down to the Cleveland Zoo, to the swimming pool. We used to swim in the pool a lot in the summer.
Did you go skiing ever? Did you do any?
Never.
No.
We would
No.
do sled riding. Our father would take us into the metro parks where they had hills to slide on, and we would go sledding.
What kind of music did you listen to? Like, what were your favorite artists and such? Good music.
Well, I'm a big band era person. We listened a lot to the big bands. Russ Morgan, Glenn Miller, Tommy Dorsey. And then in the teenage years, I kind of got into country western with Don Gibson, Hank Williams, Gene Autry, those country western singers.
What kind of fads were around back in your day?
Oh,
Like what was coming
the
up?
cuffed Levi's. The boys had dress pants in black with a pink stripe down the outside on the leg of the trousers. Girls wore poodle skirts. They were big felt skirts with the poodle embroidered on the bottom near the hem. Boys wore DA haircuts.
Yeah.
And
What's DA stand for?
I'm not sure.
Duck ass.
And the girls always wore little scarves tied around their neck, and they would wear their boyfriend's white shirts sometimes.
Oh.
Those are the fads.
Yeah. Were there like any cool, catchphrases like, like that's sick?
Daddy-o.
Something.
Daddy-o was a big one. I can't think of any other catchphrases. I just remember Daddy-o. Oh, Reet instead of right. Reet Kid. That's all I can think of off the top of my head.
That's funny. What did that mean? I was
Like radio, right?
Right.
The radio or read.
Okay. What kind of cartoons or comics did you read? Comics? Watch cartoons?
Oh yes, yes. We read the Archie comics with Betty and Jughead and Veronica. Nancy and Sluggo. Oh, we would have big boxes of comics and we'd trade them with other kids.
They're like Pokemon cards today.
Sort of, yes, yes.
Baseball cards. Cool.
Oh, Little Lulu, I don't know if I said Little Lulu. We used to have Little Lulu comics. I did say Nancy and Sluggo. Tom and Jerry comics. Popeye had comics. That's all I can think of.
What kind of toys would you play with when you were a little girl? Just normal dolls or?
Monopoly. To this day, I don't like Monopoly. We had Monopoly and the girls always played jacks. 10 jacks in a ball. And that was just about all that we had. I am so sick of Monopoly to this day. Oh, my sister and I also played cutout dolls.
Cutout dolls.
Uh-huh.
Were there any, rag dolls or plastic
Oh,
dolls?
yes. Oh, yeah, we had Raggedy Ann and Andy in that day. My sister and I, when we got a little older, we would play movie stars, and we would sort of like play house, but we would pick who our boyfriend would be, and it would be like Roy Rogers, or John Derrick, Rory Calhoun, and my sister would pick Rory. I wanted Rory. I said it first, and so I would try to think of someone else the next time we played first, so she couldn't take it. We had to make up a lot of games. We didn't have a lot of our toys. We had dolls and, like I said, Monopoly and things like that. But
yeah.
We didn't even have bicycles.
What did you like? Play tag around the yard or something?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Grover.
My father built a frame, like a little one-room house, just a frame. It wasn't real tall. He could walk in it. And he covered it all over with canvas, and each side had like an open doorway, and we had a table in there and a carpet, and we had a fish bowl with the goldfish in it. And one time we accidentally knocked the table over, and we had a carpet on the floor, and that water puddled on that carpet, and the fish was swimming around in that puddle on that carpet. But we managed to put him back in the fish bowl and get more water.
Or did you remember something about elbow grease?
Oh yes, I was doing dishes at the kitchen sink, and I'm trying to scrub the pan clean that had food stuck on it. And I said, Dad, I can't get this stuff out of here. And he says, you have to use a little elbow grease, girl. And so then later on, he went back outside and came back in from the garage, and I'm looking underneath the sink. And he says, what are you doing? I thought you were doing the dishes. And I said, I'm looking for elbow grease. And he just said, girl, it's not a product. It means you have to scrub real hard with your hand and make your elbow work. I thought that was pretty funny. To this day, I think it's kind of funny.
Are there any big celebrities, big singers like Bruno Mars or something like that?
Oh yeah, well Frank Sinatra was very big. Perry Como. Maureen O'Hara was a very famous movie star, very beautiful lady from Ireland. And she was a movie star. We went downtown to see her on stage do a show. When we were traveling in Texas, my sister lived in Texas, my older sister lived in Texas for a while. And I was about 13 and we drove all the way to Texas. And we got to see a play there with Arlene Dahl, D-A-H-L, and it was called I Married an Angel. And so that was fun. We used to go downtown to see different things at the theaters. My mother would take us girls.
Cool. Did you have school buses back then?
Oh,
School buses?
no.
Why? Because were they like too expensive or something? Or
No, everybody walked to their neighborhood school.
was it close
And I
enough?
had like 15 blocks to walk in the morning to school, back home for lunch at noon. I had to be back at school at 1:30 and then we got out at 3:30. And we walked the 15 blocks, 4 times a day, back and forth. And then my mom worked for quite a few years when I was in grade school. She worked at National Carbon, which later became Union Carbide. And I would run home. 3:30, I'd run real fast so I could wave goodbye to her at the bus stop, which was across the street from where I was walking. And a lot of times I would, get to see her before the bus came. I would try to beat the bus so I could just wave goodbye to her before she went to work.
Also, she had a fare. She had a bus, right? Like your parents had a bus that came pick them up.
Oh yeah.
Or
Yes.
no cars back then.
No, it was all buses. My dad worked, he took the car. He took the family car to work. He worked at Westinghouse. All of his life, he retired from Westinghouse. And so he had the family car, so she had to take the bus to work, and then she would come home at 1 o'clock in the morning. And a young man that lived on our little street, he worked around the same area. So he would walk my mom home. He took the bus, and they took the bus together home, and he'd walk her down the street to make sure she was safe, because it was like 1:30 in the morning
Oh wow, that's
when she
scary.
got home.
Especially in the city at 1:30.
Yes,
Watch out.
that's right. At a little side street, very shady, with a lot of beautiful trees on the street. So he was very kind to her.
Well, was there like ghettos over there, like black
No,
people?
not really. Not really. Except West 25th, later in life it became notorious for a lot of saloons and people that would be inebriated, and women, used to feel a little more threatened walking on West 25th Street at night. So things changed as time went on.
And right there. Let's see. What would you say is some differences between the time you grew up in and today?
A vast difference. Children did a lot of outdoor activities. They played with neighborhood kids on the street. Well, we didn't have all the electronics. The telephone that we had in our home when I was growing up was, of course, what they call a landline now, but we had a party line. And our phone would do a little ding if party line was using their phone. And that would let us know that we couldn't use our phone. Sometimes, you'd pick up, you wouldn't hear the ding or whatever, and you'd pick up and you hear someone talking. You would say, "Excuse me, I'm sorry," and hang up again. Although, there's rumors, a lot of people listened in on their party lines, personal phone conversations. I think there's a lot of buzz going on.
Did you how was school like elementary school, middle school, high school?
Well, elementary school, we had teachers for some separate teachers other than our regular schoolroom. We had a teacher for science and a teacher for art, and of course, gym teacher. And then when we went to junior high, it was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. You graduated from your 6th grade class, but they didn't have graduation ceremony or anything when I was a kid. You just got your report card, and boom, that was it, and a letter or a card about reporting to junior high, which I went to Thomas Jefferson Junior High. And everything was just so different, but we did have like one day to go there and become acquainted with the school at junior high. a different teacher for every class. It was fun, it was exciting, you just felt so grown up because you were in 7th grade. Everything was just so different from elementary school.
In high school, was there
Same thing, I went to Lincoln and it was, I had to take buses then too. Although when we went to Thomas Jefferson, I lived 39th off Denison. And my girlfriend and I a lot of times would walk to West 45th and West 46th and near Clark. And we would walk that distance instead of using our school pass. Good exercise, I guess, but we did have a school pass for the public transportation. And most of the time we did use that, but we would walk a lot too. And then going to Lincoln High School was on Castle Avenue off of West 25th and Clark. And that was involved 2 buses to get there on public transportation. But we would stop after school at Marshall's drugstore and have a Coke or a chocolate phosphate, which was seltzer water with chocolate syrup in it.
that sounds dangerous.
Chocolate phosphate, yeah. Or a cherry Coke, you get a little glass of Coke with a squirt of cherry flavoring in it. And, you know.
Yeah. Okay, well, how long is that? This
17 minutes.
17?
Oh, I forgot to hit record. Can we start over?
Oh,
I'm
right.
kidding.
Okay.
Little booklets of like little coupons that you tore off for milk, flour, sugar, gasoline, everything was rationed at that time. And so it meant that things should become more plentiful for families after the war ended.
Was your father out fighting or any relatives?
No, he was too old. And plus, well, not that he was so old, but he was married and had a family, so he didn't join the army, nor was he drafted. I think my greatest accomplishment was raising my 4 children.
Absolutely.
I didn't do anything prolific.
Do you have any regrets? Looking back, things you would do differently?
Regrets, there are a few. But
Besides your second
too many
job?
to list. No, I'm kidding.
Besides your second child.
No.
How many minutes do we have?
No, not really. I don't really
Good.
have any regrets. Scott's grandfather and I met working at Bigelow Rugs. He worked in the warehouse. They moved rolls and rolls of carpet, and I worked on what they called a teletype back then.
Oh, really?
I communicated with the other warehouses. People would order carpeting, like the carpeting stores would order carpeting, and they would want so many feet or so many rolls of a certain type of carpeting. And I would have to go on the teletype and see if we could order it from one of our warehouses. And one of them was in Detroit, and another warehouse was South Hackensack, New Jersey, and I would communicate with those teletype operators looking for certain patterns of carpeting. And that's how we met. We used to have a lot of fun when we were dating. We would drive to places like Akron and go to famous restaurants or popular restaurants, not famous, but popular restaurants for dinner, just for dinner. We would go to the movie theater in Akron just for something to do that was different than going to Cleveland all the time. That was about it.
Akron, how exotic.
We would visit the relatives in Blair, Ohio.
Oh, that's right, Malaya.
They worked in the glass factories, making punch bowl sets. I know one of them I've given to your mother.
Thank you for your time.
It was fun.
And, yeah.
Appreciate your time.